theme for this year coming up, 2011, will be modeling joy. Modeling joy. It'll be FBC 2011, modeling joy. Amen? Because once people have been empowered, they should then model the joy of the Lord. Amen?
Amen.
Because if he lifts you up, no one should see you. If he lifts you up and empowers you, no one should see you. Amen? Word tells us that if Jesus said, just like that serpent in the wilderness, when all of the children of wilderness of Israel, because of their desires for comfortability and pleasure, when the way of the wilderness got tough, they complained. And then God allowed vipers. He sent them. And they were being bitten, and they were dying. And then Moses prayed about it, and God told him to make a brass serpent and then lift that serpent up. And whoever was bitten, if he could look up at the serpent, and he would live. Amen? And then Jesus says, as Moses lifted up the serpent, if I be lifted up, I wish I had a witness, I'll draw all men unto me. Amen? And so this idea of lifting up is empowering. And so what is being lifted up should model a spirit, a fruit of the Spirit of God. You shouldn't model your desires. No one should see what you want if you're empowered. Amen.
Amen.
They should only see what the Lord wants. Amen. And so that's what we're going to deal with this year coming up. We'll talk about that on our watch night service. But this morning or this afternoon, James, remember in James chapter 1, remember who James is talking to. James is talking to the scattered Jews. And because they were chosen, because they were God's favorite, they had developed a sense of arrogance. You know, we have to be very careful even with our children. We can't make them feel like that they are so favored that they have special, they get special treatment. Come on here now. Yes, we love them. If they're wrong, discipline, chastise. Come on. If they're right, praise and lift up. That's proper training. But sometimes when you're favored, my God, and I know how that felt. My grandmother said that I was her favorite. She probably told everybody else that too. But I believe that. And so I felt like I did get, preferential treatment. Amen. But that can ruin you because you then begin to believe everything is about you. You will begin to believe that everything you want should happen, and it should happen sooner than later. Y'all come on in here. You want what you want now. This is what happened. This is what happened to the Jews. And so they begin to become arrogant. They begin to believe whatever they wanted should happen. Whatever they do should work out beautifully. Amen? And they had begun to forget about God's will for their lives. They replaced God for themselves. Amen. And so, of course, when you start thinking incorrectly, thinking that it's all about you, you're going to attract tests to see if you really understood that it's not about you. Because when you attract, listen, you know, I don't know how you feel about it, but Lord knows I got a few of the things I thought I wanted. Worst thing in the world. Getting some things you thought you wanted. You thought you wanted this here. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. And so when you attract those things, God is then looking for you to pray to him, to ask him, give me wisdom. Amen? To give me wisdom. This is what he says here in James chapter 1. You see that chapter 1, verse number 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth it to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. What is God going to give you? Wisdom. What is the main thing James is asking, saying that we should petition God for? Wisdom. Not for what the world pushes at us. And so this is what he argues in chapter 4. Remember now, the Jews were scattered because they began to want what the other people around them had. Their wants. And so now he says, chapter 4, verse number 1, for whence comes wars and fightings among you? Why can't you get along with everyone else? Now here we go. Listen. James is telling us right here why it's difficult for us to get along with people. And there's only one answer. Listen. Come they not hence even of your lusts that war in your members? When you're double-minded, listen. Remember now, what is double-mindedness? One part of you says, God will do it. Another part says, I can handle this. Amen. And so, when you're in this double-mindedness, it comes about because there is double-mindedness in your heart. In other words, you have two opposing thoughts. Lord have mercy. Do you realize, and I'm going to say this, you know, just so you understand the idea of it, because a thought is like a seed. Doctors have found out that when there are different sperm in a woman from two different men, those two sperm fight. My God. And when they fight, they give off a toxin that poisons the womb. If I have two opposing thoughts, God is in charge. God is in charge. I'm in charge. These two opposing thoughts will war with each other. Can y'all hear me? Now, when